crafty friends, it's Tracy Hines, aka Nanner Banana. In this video, I thought it might be fun for you guys to see my process for when I come up with new embellishments and ephemera for my different series. So it's going to seem a bit chaotic because usually when I do my videos, I just have everything prepped and ready. I've already made a prototype. And this time I haven't, but to give you an idea of what inspired me, I received this book, and it's from 1860, I believe, and it's called Little Gip. The pages in this book are like cardstock. I mean, they are substantial. There's cardstock, it's not this thick. So I'm wanting to utilize the size and shape of this to make some ephemera. So right now it's 5 inches. I want to cut that rough edge off, so I'm going to make it 4 3/4. I think that should do it. And I also don't like what the book's saying, so I'm going to be covering up the front side of this. But let me go ahead and, as I go, I'm just going to go ahead and cut things for what I need. Because basically I'm using this as cardstock. It would be if I used a file folder or something like that. So if you don't have old book pages that are like cardstock, I would probably use cardstock or a file folder to make what I'm making today. But I thought it might be interesting for you guys to see how I come up with my ideas and what inspires me. So in this particular case, what inspired me, I had gotten this book and a couple others that were in horrific shape, but the pages inside were neat. And I wanted to be able to utilize the pages. So the other book that I had received that I think I'm going to use on this is, these are the leaf pages. And I just feel like that burgundy color is going to work perfectly with the little bit of burgundy that's in especially these little train journals. I just think that'll look really nice inside as an accent for one of our embellishments. And I want to utilize this paper as well. It's going to get torn, so I'm not doing anything with it yet to prep it. Like I said, I am going to be decorating some of this, and I'm going to use like these parts of this these images here. This was the images from the book that had this leaf paper in it. So I'm going to set this off to the side because these are pretty much prepped and ready to go. And instead of using the background page for this, I'm going to use some rag paper to put over top of it. Let me get to the center page here so I can clip it and pull some sheets out. And the other thing that'll be neat is I will tear this to put on top of this page. So this page has a nice patina, and when I tear this to cover up the text, it'll add a nice layering of paper colors to it. And I like doing that in Victorian journals in particular, because I think it adds a neat texture and detail to things. And we'll also be using the digital. So if you haven't gone out and got the free digital off Ko-Fi, you're going to want to do that. I want to see if I actually can find some different pages. That text is really small, and I don't really want it to be that small. So let's see here. Is this the center page? Alright, well, there's 2. I need at least one more for what I'm doing. Just have to find the center page. We'll just take a page out. That'll be fine. Okay. So I don't need this anymore. Get that out of my way. So those pages will get torn. They're prepped. And then I'm going to use a ledger as well for some layering pieces. I've got my ledger, and I need to make it the same size as these. So this right now is 7.5 by, it would have been 5, so 5 by 7, but I made mine 4 3/4 because of the fact that it had that edge I wanted to remove. Sorry for yawning on you. Okay, so this needs to be, it's going to go this way. I need this to be 4 3/4 is what I need this to be. So we're making 2 rectangles the exact same size, and we're going to layer them in a really unique way. One, is this one? Yeah, that's that page. Okay, and then I need to cut it down to 7.5. I need to get another sheet of this. Alright, so I need it to be 4 3/4 by 7.5. This will be a longer video since you're getting to see my process, and who knows, this may not turn out. So I may be making this video and it never goes up because of that. I don't know. So I have a decision to make. Do I want to get another whole sheet of ledger out, or do I want to make 2 of my embellishments a 1/2 inch smaller? Just for the sake of not wasting vintage ledger, I'm going to make 2 of them a 1/2 inch smaller. If I don't like how it looks, I can always grab another piece of ledger. All right, I'm going to need a focal point. I don't know if I want to use the guys. I've already used the girl faces for focal points, so I think I'm going to try out using the guys this time. And then this is going to be an image that gets tucked in to this. So you'll see here in a minute. I'm going to go ahead and get this cut out though. So this part is done except for inking. And if you've got authentic cabinet cards that you're wanting to use, I would definitely, I mean, that's just going to add so much more richness than using a digital. But obviously, if you don't have cabinet cards, a digital is a nice option. I do need to keep an eye on how big these are because I don't want them to be bigger. They won't be perfect. I was going to say I don't want these to stick out above the pocket. So there you go. So this will be perfect. You guys, my work area, like you're seeing a very small piece of my work area and it's pretty messy the way it is. But this desk has descended so badly. I hate when I let it do that. And I swore this time with this series, I was going to keep my workspace nice and neat. There wasn't going to be a mess, but it has descended. It happened last night during the live when I couldn't find my cabinet cards. And yeah, so and now it's not recovered. And I don't enjoy my workspace as much when it's like this. So tomorrow, I think I'm going to take however long it takes me to get it nice and neat and organized. That way I can enjoy my workspace a little bit more. I think I'll just do a reset. I could do a video on that, a tell-all, the dark side of junk journaling. True confessions of a junk journaler. I have a feeling we all have days like that in our workspaces. I love making embellishments and ephemera. That's one of my favorite parts of these series, is coming up with all the different things to make for them. And the least favorite part for me is sewing in signatures. I've said that many, many times. And it's not per se the sewing in of the signatures, it's getting the signature pages, picking them, and that aspect of it, and making that decision. So that's my least favorite part of making a journal. For me, I love doing the cover. I love the embellishments, things like that. But that's the part I feel like I dread. And so I'm procrastinating because, as you know, I'm making 3 journals like this month, and then 1 hardback train journal. And this is the only one that's completely sewn in. I've got one, all the pages are trimmed, and all I've got to do is do the pamphlet stitch. And then I've got one, the pages need cut down and pamphlet stitch. And then I've got my hardbound one here that is, I've got the pages pulled, but I'm going to have to like sew them, weld them together, things like that. I've never made a journal this big, in the sense of like, I can't just use 8.5 by 11 paper in it. And I'm procrastinating, so tomorrow I may hop on and do a live, and I have to get it done. If I find I'm procrastinating tomorrow after I clean up my workspace, you might see me pop on and do that as a way of forcing myself to get it done. And you guys can watch how I manage it, if I manage it. So, do you guys have to do little things like that? I don't know if you call that play games with yourself or whatever, just to make yourself do what you know you need to do. And after I like sew in the signatures and get that done, I'm always like, oh, that I love it. Like I love flipping through them once they're done. But I don't know what it is. It's like a mental block I have or something. Just don't enjoy that part of it. I am getting better at picking out the pages for the signatures. What I used to do is, if it had 3 signatures, like this one signature would each have a different page, but then each signature would be the same as the first. The second would be the same as the first, the third. So I'd just copy the order of the pages of the first signature over and over, depending on how many signatures it had. Well, since I've been on doing the series, like the Sunbonnet Sue, there was not a repeating page at all. And there was 3 signatures in each journal, and there was not a repeating page. So I was really proud of myself on that one. And then I'm going to try and do the same thing with this one. We'll see how I do. Okay, so I've got those done. I just need to ink them up. Now let me cut out the smaller cards here. You hear Luke, guys? He is growling. What are you growling about, Luke? What are you growling about? It might be quicker. I don't know. Let me at least cut that part of it, and then I can go back and cut them apart. It might be quicker to do that part with scissors, but this will be quicker to do like this. Me and my mom went garage selling this morning, and I found 2 really neat vintage decorating books from the 1960s. And I found a game from the 1960s. I don't have them in the house. I left them in the car, or I'd show them to you. But, I'm sure I'll show them to you. If I get on tomorrow and do a live, I can make sure I have those. Which, when I'm actually uploading this video, you guys will see it on Monday because I'm pre-recording. It's Saturday evening for me. I think in the Victorian era, the big giant bushy mustaches were funny looking. Can you imagine kissing a guy that had a big bushy mustache? I don't think I'd like that at all. So the other thing this video will let you see is how long it takes me to make my ephemera, which I'll be honest, once I get one prototype done that I like, I will stop the film for you guys and I'll make the rest off film so the video isn't any longer than it has to be. But it does take a lot longer than what you guys get to see on a video normally. But I definitely enjoy doing it. I find it so relaxing. All right, so let me put these over here. First thing I want to do is put my rag paper onto these pages. So have you guys been watching the Wednesday Addams series on Netflix? I've been watching that and really enjoying it. I love the way rag paper feels. Again, this is an example of a embellishment. All the pieces will be in the kit to make it. So far, everything you've seen is going to be in the kit that I've made. All the vintage papers and items that I've used to make them. I've only got 2 kits, but if you're lucky enough to get one of the 2 kits, you'll have all the vintage items that I use to make everything. Okay. Oh, yeah, it just covers it up. I will take it. I need to keep that in mind, though, when I'm gluing this. I need to get a scrap piece of paper to glue on so I don't make my desk area a total mess. Let's see. Let me take this. Got a scrap piece of paper here. I was trying to scan some antique items to see, because I think these would make cool labels. These are the nibs for calligraphy pens from 1800s, and I thought they would make neat labels because they're out of copyright. And same with this, but I just don't think they scanned well enough to upload them. Anyway, I'll use this to... I need to get a better printer scanner if I'm gonna scan antique items and upload them in my digitals on Ko-Fi. But that will have to be something in the future. Because the one that I've heard is really good is, I can't remember what it's called. It's the one where you add the ink to the little barrel like things. It's not like a typical ink cartridge. It's like where you add in the liquid ink. I can't remember what that's called, but I've heard that's the one to get. What type of printers do you guys have that you do? What kind do you use? I'd be curious to see what you think of yours. Are you happy with it? Have you been able to scan vintage images and antique images and get a good result? Stuff like that. My mom and I, though, one of the garage sales we went to, it was a very elderly couple, and this was a community garage sale. So it was the only garage sale within this huge community that actually had items I'd want to purchase for junk journaling. So I didn't get hardly anything today. I think I spent $5 total, and $2 of it was something for my brother. But I think I got 5 items, so I didn't pay very much for it. But she had a huge record collection, and I wish I had like a turntable so I could listen to records. But like, so almost everything she was selling was from the 60s. She had like Beatles albums. Now, the album covers were in excellent shape because I went through and looked through all of them looking for like artwork that I could use to make journals out of. And there was a couple Christmas ones I almost picked up, but I changed my mind. But she had like the Beatles and Blondie and stuff like that, to where if I had had a turntable here at my house, I totally would have picked those up just to listen to the music. That would have been so neat. When I was a little girl, I had a turntable and listened to my mom and dad's old 45s on it, and I used to love doing that. And then when Casey Kasem would come on, America's Top 40, I'd sit there with my tape player and my cassette tape and be like ready to hit the record button, ready to hit stop. So you didn't get the commercial parts and all the talking, you just got the song. Those were really good memories, though, of my childhood. I loved doing that. That was like a major activity I enjoyed doing. There was a gentleman there going through the records and albums too, and he picked up a couple, but I heard him telling another lady he was buying some, that some of the albums had like minor scratches, but I guess when you're listening, that can really affect the sound. So he only bought 2. He said that were in excellent condition. But I thought that was neat. In case this is one of the first videos you're catching, I'll remember to put the digital link in the description section so you can get the cabinet cards that come with the digital kit. And again, my digital kits are always free on Ko-Fi. My name on Ko-Fi is Tracy Hines, aka Nanner Bananer. And all you have to do, it'll show like $1, not $1, it'll show a 0 when it gets ready to check out, and all you have to do is type in 0.00 to get it for free. And the reason I sell my digitals, the reason I do not sell my digitals is because I use AI to create them. I use ChatGPT to create my digitals, so they're not in any way, shape, or form perfect. I mean, you can see from what I'm using here, I mean, they're good, but especially like if there's words or something like that on the digital, occasionally there'll be a misspelling, and no matter how many times I try to revise it, the AI that has control over the process of making these digitals does not get it right. And I haven't figured out, I mean, I can spell the word correctly and be like, you misspelled the word, can you please spell it correctly, and give it the correct spelling, and it'll still misspell it. Or it'll get that word right, but then it'll misspell a different word sometimes. So I may in the future invest in getting, I think it's called, is it Canva? The one that a lot of people use to create digitals. I may invest in that in the future when I have time to learn the software and stuff, because I do enjoy making digitals and that artistic part of creating that stuff. I haven't like checked into how much that software is or anything. I need to do that. It's just so easy right now to make them with the AI help that I don't know, I just feel like you get enough usable images and items on the digital that it's not a huge deal since you're not having to pay for it. I mean, I use them, but the whole reason I even create them is because I'm using them, and instead of going out and having to spend hours searching on Etsy for a digital to fit my theme. And sometimes I still do that depending on the theme. I know when I did the 1950s housewife, I went out to Etsy and did find some really good digitals for that series. But I've been trying to just make them. That way you guys can have them for free if you want to craft along. Or make something else with them. It's just the geese, Bob, flying overhead. It's okay. Have your geese and waterfowl started migrating south? I'm here in the Midwest, so ours have been starting to head south. All right, now it's funny, when I do a live, I can't think of all these things to say, but just crafting and videoing, I don't have a problem just talking nonstop. I think what it is, when I do a live, I'm looking at comments, and so I'm not just talking in real time. It's kind of like, yes, I am talking in real time, but I'm also trying to read comments, and then the comments will ask a question, and I go in another direction based on a question, things like that. Maybe, I don't know. I'm just guessing. I went to I took Mom to the Dollar Tree and Dollar General today too. She likes to go there every week. And I hadn't been in Dollar General in months. And I seen where they had the flat coin wrappers in the different colors. I almost got some, but I thought, well, I don't need them for this series. I'll wait till I do a series where I want to. I almost got them for the next month's Christmas series. And I probably should have, because there was red and green ones in there, and other colors too. But I thought, well, those would be cute to make something with. Did everybody go out and get their free Christmas digital? It's the first one I've released. I'll be releasing a lot of them, I know, when I start that series. Okay, so here's my background. And I will be sewing around these here in a minute, but right now I'll wait until I get the next part done, which is the ledger. So let's get this ledger folded in half, which these are the ones that are a 1/2 inch shorter, but you're going to put them on here and decorate them and sew around them. That's part of their decoration, is sewing around them and stuff. So I guess I will go ahead and pull my sewing machine up and get ready to sew. Let me get these folded in half first, and then we can get stuff out to sew. Okay. There. That's how we can do that. So you can see like this, whatever size you choose to do, these are basically 5x7. So if you have 2 pieces of 5x7 cardstock, so you would cut out however many you're wanting to make, mass make, you fold 1 in half and it's going to go down here. I'm not finished yet, but then this becomes a tuck spot. And then when you put this in the book, this can be a place to put a tag. So I'll end up putting one of these images. I'm going to have to cut that down more, but I'll put one of these like faux cabinet cards in here. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to cut that way down. Let me do that real quick so I can see how that's going to look. This would be perfect though, like if you're not doing a Victorian scene, but like your focal point, say, would be Christmas. And then you've got black and whites of kids either around a Christmas tree or colored pictures. Playing in the snow, stuff like that. It would just be a really cool effect, I think. Trash can is overflowing. I have got to dump that. So then you see here where you can have the photo showing and still see all the different layers, and then this is going to have layered paper and images on it. But let me get these sewn and we will go from there. What did I do with the picture? Here it is. Let me set these off to the side till I need them. All my pictures. And if you're using like pages from a book because you just want to use up book pages, because that's sort of the other thing. If you use book pages, it's a way of using up some of all, you know how we have just a ton of book pages, all of us. It's a way of using up book pages. And then if you need because this is meant to be a journaling card on the inside, which I'll be able to do that with the ledger. But if this was written in text, you could just put a piece of coffee dyed paper down over top of some of the text to have a place to journal. All right, let me go ahead and get these sewn real quick. Sewing machine up. Plugging my sewing machine in. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to do a zigzag stitch on this. Which my favorite zigzag stitch is the number 5. Been watching the new season of it's a spin-off series of The Walking Dead. It's Daryl and Carol. Season 3's out. Oh my gosh, they just have one episode, but I think Saturday or Sunday the second episode comes out. I cannot wait to watch that. I am a huge Walking Dead fan. I know some people don't care for the show. They just, I know my dad can't. He's like, why would anybody want to watch something like that? But I don't know what it is. I love it. I've watched the original series, The Walking Dead, 10 times. No joke. I am definitely a fan. Hopefully I still have some people watching my video and watching along with me. And maybe you guys are crafting on something. That would be good. That way you're getting stuff done too, because I know this is going to be a really long video. But I thought it would be fun for you guys to see. Because as of right now, this is just an idea in my head, and I haven't decided if I'm going to even go with it yet. In my head, it comes together and looks good, but we'll see how it ends up coming out in real life. That's one thing. I think when you do like a vintage or antique, Victorian era, Edwardian era, things like that, one of the things that make those journals look really good is layering texture, layering vintage pages, so you get all the different patinas. I just think it adds so much richness to the journal. And it's also like, you would think, well, that's a lot of different supplies than what I usually use. But if you think about it, we usually all have music paper, because that's always a good background. We usually always have vintage book pages laying around somewhere. We may not always have ledger. It just depends in your area if you have very much access to it or not. But you can use coffee dyed paper. That's always a good option too. Like if I didn't have a ledger, you could use coffee dyed paper. It would work just as good. And you can always do like the grungy thing. Like if you don't have older supplies, you can use inks and stuff like that to make them look old. On that topic, I'm going to mention a collab I've got coming up in January with Bex, with Black Whisper Crafts. We are going to do a Nancy Drew collab in January. We're each going to do a journal, and it's the first book in the Nancy Drew series. We're both using 1960 Nancy Drew books. She's going to do a grungy version, and I'm going to do a retro version. And we will be making those for the entire month of January. You'll have to check both of our channels out, follow along, and then at the end of the month, we'll do a flip through of each of our journals. So I'm excited for that. I'm also going to make, besides the broken clock one, or the secret of the clock, I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. The secret of the broken clock, that's what it was. I'm going to do other Nancy Drew books as well, because I've got several. I think I've got 8. I don't know if I'll get all 8 journals done, but if I can, I will. And I've already made the majority of my digital, and it's turned out really good. It's mostly like that 1960s mod vibe. But yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm still sourcing items for the series. Like some of the things that I have already found are a clue game from the 1950s that has some really neat pieces I'll be able to use. I found a CIA forensic book from the 1920s that has a huge section on, and so it has a ton of fingerprints in it. And so I thought that would be neat to do in those journals. And then Madeline and Stacy at Junkie Cat Junction and Madeline Diet Designs, they both had given me for this series some reproduction Sears and Roebuck pages. Well, there is a ton of clocks. So I thought, well, that'll be perfect for that first book. There's like cameras, there's magnifying glasses, and things like that. So I thought, well, I'm going to save those pages for when I do my Nancy Drew series, because those will be perfect. but I'm definitely trying to source and find different things. I'll definitely have to make a lot of my embellishments with like using the digital. I don't have a ton of, I have quite a bit of 60s stuff. I'll be able to use some of that in there, but for the specific theme of like detective or mystery, things like that, I'll be using my digital. I'll be relying on my digital a lot, is what I'm trying to spit out there. Oh, we're getting close to this part being done. So normally I would just make one of these, but I'm just making all of them. Now I will, once I get one completed, turn off the camera, you'll see the finished result, but that way I'll just have to assemble the other ones that I need. Also, anyone new that doesn't know, I do a wrap party at the end of every series that falls at the end of the last Sunday of the month. So the last Sunday in September, I will do a live at 2 p.m. and the live is to give away one journal that's fully dressed. So it's a ready-to-use journal. And then one set of embellishments that I've made for the whole month. So all these embellishments that you've seen me make, that's one of the giveaways, is a set of those for the month. Hang on, I need to get a drink. And then I have a lot of, I have a big stash. And when you, I don't know how you guys feel, but when I pull things out to use, trying to get them put back in, unless there's something just extraordinarily precious, it's a lot of effort. So what I do at the end of my series is I give away my leftovers, and those end up being, depending on the month, quite a bit of stuff, and that helps me not have to go back into my craft room and put everything away. So this is the zigzag stitch, and now I'm going to do a straight stitch around the outer edge of these. If you guys are still watching and haven't hit the like button, if you don't mind hitting the like button, I really appreciate it. It helps my videos do well and get shared on everybody's feeds that are not subscribed. It'll pop up if they show an interest in paper crafting, junk journaling, things like that. And it's a great way to support a content creator and a channel. It doesn't cost anything. You just hit the thumbs up button. And if you haven't subscribed, I'd really appreciate a subscribe if you haven't already. All right, so here's an example. I want to do one of the ones that have the numbers on top for the first one. Oh, there it is. Okay, here we go. So there's that part of it so far. I'll finish sewing those other ones here in a minute. I don't want the video to just be ridiculously long, but we'll see what happens. It might still end up being ridiculously long. I don't know. So then the next thing I want to do is use a piece of some of this, and then I also want to use some of these images, the backgrounds of them. Let's see here. Let me tear this. That's my plan, is to have torn edges. So if you don't have old vintage pages with images, you can use scrapbook paper, the leaf and paper. You could use wrapping paper. That would work. And depending on your theme, it might look better, you know, because this is a vintage theme, so I'm trying to use as much vintage items as I can. All right, I want to tear it this way so I can see that white edge. And then I need to tear a little bit more off the top. Okay. Then I'm going to glue that down. Oh, I guess I could use this. I haven't used my PVA glue in a while. I don't know how it's going to come out. I probably need to clean it. I may just have to get my Fabri-Tac. I love this PVA glue, but boy, does it clog up. And that's just where my little tool I use so it doesn't dry out rust because the glue is wet. If you're wondering what that discolorated glue is, that's what it is. All right, there's that. Now then, let me get one of my pictures here. Oh, I should have inked that. Dadgummit. Oh well. The next one will be inked. That's one of the things when you're using vintage papers. If it's not inked, it's not the end of the world, but I just think it looks better. All right, and now I want to use some of this. Oh, but I'm going to have to trim that too. Let me think about that for a minute. Let me do that first. I don't want to waste any of this because I have to make 6 of these and this is all I have. This is definitely a one-off. So if you have old books and you don't think you'll use them and the end pieces are beautiful, I recommend at least harvesting those. You can get some really pretty. I'm going to have to make that a little smaller, but I can do that. All right. Let's see. And this needs to be a little bit smaller. Okay, better. Let's go ahead and make that more curved than square. There. And let's try inking that ever so slightly. And same way with this. This needs inked as well. Now. And then here's our guy. And we can do something like that too. It doesn't have to be everything centered. It could be off-centered a little bit. And do I want to use a piece of lace on here? Let's take a look here. Where is my effect? got something poking me in my shirt. It hurts. Okay. Let me glue. I know I want to glue this down on 2 sides. So let me get that done, and then that still lets me pop in that photograph. And I'm thinking I need some kind of lace or something on this guy. Let me look and see. Let's see here. What did I do with that extra Edwardian lace? I think I'll use some of that. Absolutely love this lace I got from Sandra. Oh my gosh, I love it. Okay, so I need it to be 4.5 in the perfect world. That's what I want, 4.5. 1, 2, 3, 4.5 would be right there. Ooh, you know what might look better since it's a guy and not a girl? Let me see about the mesh knitting on this. That might look better. Let's see. Okay, so I could do less than that wide. It could be shorter, for sure. I could just do that bottom part there. So we're going to try a couple different things. I like that pretty good on there. But then I'm thinking this might look really good. Let me cut a piece of this. That way I can get the majority of it out of my way. So what if I do this instead? I'm not cutting very straight lines. Let's see here. Put them on there and try and cut it a little bit straighter. Alright. Do I like that better than the lace since it's a guy? I think so. Let me see the difference. Is it the front or the back? Here's the front. Okay, so that's the way that looks. Let me put an image in there. Yeah, there's that image. So there's that. Or I could do lace. I don't know, I really like the lace, even though it's a guy picture. Maybe I should change these out for the females. Just thought it would be nice to do some of the guys too. What if I like stretch this and rough it up a little bit? Does that help? Does it rough up? I don't think it does. It holds its shape really well. I think it has to be the lace. That doesn't work. Okay. Well, we tried. That's why we do that. You try and you see what looks the way you want it to. Alright, let me get some Fabri-Tac and put that down. Okay. wonder if I should rough up the edge on it. I know I just inked that, but I'll just have to go back and ink it again. Do these edges look alike? And I think, again, if you had a real photo sitting in there, that would look really good. All right, and I'm going to have to put this under a flat surface so it lays nice and flat. But let me see what it looks like roughing this edge up. This is how it would look if I don't rough it up. Another option would be to sew around it, to add another sewing detail, just straight stitch around the image and then glue it down. But let me try roughing it up and see what I think of that. My advice when you're doing this is don't go aggressive, go slow and easy, less pressure, and you can always start pushing down more and stuff like that. But if you tear it or make it look really yucky right off the bat, you know, you can't fix that. If you go slow, you can kind of fix it or measure what you're doing a little bit. And I will end up putting a few tears in it, but right now I'm just trying to rough up the edge so it doesn't look so perfect. I want it to look like it's been around a while. I'm going to re-ink it so we don't see the white. And just don't want it to look perfect. What I'm going for. So I don't want it to look perfect. So I'm just kind of squishing in the edges a little bit, which I'm sure you've all done this. I don't know. And I got a little tear there. That's just perfect. Perfect little tear. All right, there's that. See how that makes such a huge difference in making it look older than what it is? I like that. Now I just have to decide if I want to sew it or not. Promise I won't take too much longer. I'm just deciding if I want to sew around the image or not, or put it down. I think I need to sew around it. If I don't like it, I won't do the rest that way. Sorry if I bumped you guys. All right, we are on a straight stitch, so we're good there, and I want to be right on that edge. I do not want it to be in very far at all. Ooh, I just messed up. Well, let's hope that sloppy look looks good. Let's take a look at how that turned out. So decide for yourself if you like the sewn edge or not. I'm not 100% sure how I feel about it yet. I think it's fine. I'm not sure it's worth the extra time. I don't know. I probably won't do the rest, but this one will stay this way. And we will put him over here off to the side a little bit and just hold him in place while that dries. Another thing you can do to add more detail to this, like I said, I forgot to ink around this page. That would have looked good if I had inked around it, and I'll do that with the others I make. And something else I'm going to do is I'm going to get a stencil and ink a little bit on the back side of this. Now, if you had a real photograph, you probably wouldn't need to do that. Especially like if you were doing a different theme and that's a black and white photo, I think it'd be fine. I would have this one tipped out just enough so they see that there's an image there. But this is the make, guys. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think of my process when I come up with new ideas for ephemera. Is this how you come up with ideas when you're junk journaling? Or do you have a different method? I'd love to know. I will see you on the next video. Don't forget to keep it cute, keep it crafty, and keep making something out of nothing. Bye!